Speaking of a man who cries a lot, Blaine Fowler joins us now in Studio B. What's up, Blaine?
It's true. I'm very emotional.
Quite the segue. I like that.
Yeah.
Very emotional.
Where do you rank Taysom Hill among the BYU greats? This is an interesting question. He said it's up for the fans, kind of an analyst to decide.
It's hard. I like that you put him in the top 10, and here's why. Because statistically, it's hard to put a place for the guy that really took him into a new era. So the guy that came and was the face of independence for them, played the toughest schedules that any quarterback has ever played in BYU history, and then was a senior when a whole new staff comes in, and Kalani Sitake for this era. His leadership, it's so hard for me to not rank him in that top 10 when I just think about his offseason leadership and what he went through and how he transitioned this team. I had no hopes. Honestly, you guys, I had no hopes that this team would have an opportunity to win 9 games this season. Knowing that they'd be running a new offense, they'd be running a new defense, knew everything with the schedule that they were going to face. And I recognize that some of the teams ended up not being as good as we thought they were going to be. But you know what? Michigan State's still really good despite their record. So I had no hope that they would nine games. I thought 8 games would be a really good season. So the fact that they have a chance to go beat Wyoming and get to 9 games, that puts him in very special company in my mind, regardless of his touchdown to interception ratio this year and all that. And so I don't know. I haven't wrapped my head around it yet. Fans are really interesting. They get mad if you don't put Steve Young number 1. But I got news for you.
He's not the best quarterback in BYU history.
They get mad at me. And here's the thing. And Steve wouldn't get mad at me. Here's what I will say about Steve Young. He's the greatest NFL quarterback that BYU has ever produced. I've never seen a player go from where he was as a sophomore here, because I played with him, to where he was when he was a Super Bowl MVP. That guy never stopped working. He never stopped getting better. Where he was from his 3rd year in the NFL till when he was winning the Super Bowl MVP. You talk to the pros that worked with me, talk to Mike Croman and those guys, they'll say they've never seen an NFL guy continue to get better more than Steve Young. So whenever you talk about Taysom Hill being the greatest running quarterback, everybody gets mad. So what about Steve Young? Well, he's in a completely different offense. He didn't run it like Taysom. He was a tremendous athlete. When you say, you know what? Jim McMahon's probably the greatest college quarterback I've ever seen. What about Steve Young? Steve Young's one of my best friends. I love Steve Young. He was the greatest NFL quarterback that ever played here, and he's certainly in the top 3.
I put him number 3.
Yeah, here at BYU. And so no offense to Steve Young, who I think is the greatest NFL quarterback and the greatest NFL player that BYU's ever produced. Mm-hmm. Taysom Hill is the greatest running quarterback in BYU history.
Yeah.
So I'll put he's number 1 in that category. And for what he had to do from a leadership perspective, I'd have a hard time putting anybody above him from a leadership perspective as well.
This may be the most important question you answer, too. Not to put pressure on you, but where would a young quarterback from New York by the name of Blaine Fowler rank?
Well, for stats, in terms of just the stats, let's just go with my completion percentage in the Michigan game. Let's just have that be. Let's just have that be.
I'm going to look at how many
off the
career
top of your
passes
head,
where do you rank right now?
I actually don't even remember. It's probably like
what do you think
5 out of 7, 6 out of 8, something like that in that game.
Oh, I mean career.
Oh, I don't know. I don't even know.
You're 37th in passing yards in BYU history with 615.
Okay, so that doesn't,
You had a.
Then you know what? Then I must be 37th.
You're 30.
He's the 37th best quarterback in
I'm
BYU.
the 37th best that ever played here.
That's going to end up on his bio on Twitter.
Yeah, no.
You had
here's
3 more touchdown passes than Jason Spencer and I.
So there you go. All I want is let's just go basically on completion percentage. Let's just take my Michigan game in isolation.
Okay.
And then let's rank me.
Okay, I like it.
In isolation.
I like it.
I'll look that up.
I'm nowhere close to any of those guys, but a lot of the greatest in history are really good friends of mine, and I was here to back them up and help them learn and help them on the sidelines and talk them through things and do all that. That was my role. That was my role when I was here. I'm proud of my role when I was here, but I'm telling you, I played with some of the greatest quarterbacks in the history of college football, not just in BYU history. So I had the chance to learn from Jim McMahon and to work with Jim. To me, he's still the greatest college quarterback that ever played. And
not just at BYU
ever.
Yeah.
First 4,000-yard passer in college football.
What he did was remarkable. He was a tremendous athlete, and I always had wished that Jim could go and play at like San Francisco in a West Coast offense and go play for Bill Walsh, because he'd be a Hall of Famer, a first ballot Hall of Famer. Instead, he goes to Chicago and he plays with sweetness with Walter Payton, and so he ends up doing this a lot. Here you go, Walter.
Yeah.
Tossing the ball back there, which was great, and they win a Super Bowl, and he was the catalyst for that '85 Super Bowl team. He was the personality of that team. Had Jim, with his skill set and his ability to read defenses and react and his athleticism, gone to a different offense, he would have thrown for gobs of yards in the NFL. So to me, he's still the greatest quarterback that ever played. And then I played with Steve Young, who was an unbelievable athlete and the hardest working guy, and fine-tuned his skills to be one of the greatest that ever played the game. And I backed up Robbie. And people always say, well, what's the best thing about Robbie? Robbie threw the best deep ball of any quarterback I ever played with before he hurt his shoulder. So pre-shoulder injury, his junior year and the first part of his senior year, he'd throw a deep post down the middle into coverage and just drop it in, and we would all just go, holy cow, how did he just fit that in there? His accuracy on deep balls was uncanny, unbelievable. And so I played with those three, and they're all right there in that top five. And Robbie's stats, I move him up even higher because of the way he won. You know what I mean? That's why I moved Taysom up even higher, because of the leadership and the way he won this year in spite of a brand new offense and a brand new defense. So it's hard to just look at numbers and rank people.
It is. The schedules are different. The game has changed. The rules have changed. So yeah, fun combo that we'll never actually get to a real answer.
No, there's not a real answer. But let's in my heart,
except for my top.
In my heart, Taysom Hill's top 10 because of what he did and the era that he ushered in. Because I think he has helped set the stage for BYU to move into the future. And he was the transition guy, and I think he had as much to do with getting everybody to buy in as the coaching staff did. He was an extension of the coaching staff out there, and he deserves a lot of credit for that.
Yeah, and the potentially 9 wins with this schedule equal to, I don't know, 10, 11 in the WAC or Mountain West. We could debate that.
I mean,
all
seriously,
day.
Think about if he had to play 2 marquee games, 1 or 2. And then play the old WAC schedule that we got to play against.
I think he's 11-1 against Group
this
of 5
team is good as they are defensively.
Yeah.
And with Jamal Williams at running back and him at quarterback, in the old WAC days, this 10+ win team, easy, no question about it.
Yeah. We'll get your thoughts on Wyoming as we lead up to the bowl game in the next 2 weeks, I guess, from today. But let's talk about BYU hoops. Yesterday, Dave Rose said maybe it's time to become more of a power team and slow it down just a touch. Your thoughts on maybe the new identity of BYU hoops?
The thing that Dave is recognizing, he and I have talked about this, is this young group. Maybe they're hunting threes a little bit too much. He knows that eventually this can be a good 3-point shooting team, but you can't shoot threes well when you're rushing the shot. To knock down a three, you need to be squared up. Your fundamentals need to be good. And right now, the combination of being too much in a hurry and the young guys going, man, why are we shooting so bad? And the answer to that is, well, we just need to keep shooting them. And eventually, so they're rushing those shots right now. And Dave, from the beginning of the season, felt like this needed to be an inside-out team, that the ball should be thrown down inside and that it should go through Mika and it should go through Davis and it should go through Yoli Childs and it should go through those guys in the post. And then the threes should come from kickbacks from inside back to the perimeter. And when you're standing outside and the ball's in the post and somebody goes down in doubles, now you get the ball back. You're squared up on the 3-point line. You're looking at the basket. You go up. You're not drifting from one side to the other, and you have time to make that shot. He believed that from the beginning of the season, and he's been trying to preach that. And so now I think he's going, okay, so they're just not getting that. So if we're not able to do that in this hurry-up style, maybe we need to slow them down just a little bit until they get that, and then we can speed it back up again. So simplify it a little bit, slow it down a little bit until these guys get comfortable measuring those threes, taking good threes. Then that shot starts to fall, and now you can start to push it just a little bit more. So I'm right with Dave on this. He's got great talent inside. Take advantage of it, and the youth on the outside needs to be more patient.
Certainly the play of Eric Mika would fall into this as things you can build off of. But what else are you seeing that you do like that BYU can build off of moving forward?
Yeah, I want to see it consistently, but they're showing me that they have the ability to play better defense than they have in the last couple of years. They're more capable outside, and I think that that's a good thing. And then the other thing is I think that Rose is a catalyst for unselfish play out there. He's been a really pleasant surprise to me. So Mika, I'm not surprised because I know how talented he is, but this early back from a mission for him to be this dominating and be this skilled and this in shape, has been to me remarkable. But Rose has been the other biggest surprise for me. I'm going, wow, this guy really gets it. He's really unselfish. It's infectious when he's on the floor. He starts making great passes. If you're on the radio, you didn't see this, but if you're watching on TV, you just saw a play where he had an easy layup, and instead of taking the layup, he threw it over his shoulder to Mika for a throwdown dunk. Could have easily just made the layup, but he understands that when your 6'10", 6'11" guys run the floor, you have to reward them. Then they'll run the floor the next time. And that kind of mentality is infectious. It's leadership mentality. And so to me, he's the other guy you rally around. You tell the young guys, you know what? You conduct yourself out on the floor the way this guy does it, and you'll be fine. And so I think things are going to come. It is a young team, unbelievably talented young team. And they'll come around. By the time they get to mid-season in the conference, they're going to be knocking down threes at a much better rate.
I'm excited to watch them tonight, 9 Eastern on BYUtv. Blaine Fowler, Dave McCann, and Spencer Linton on the call tonight. Blaine, you're 37th in pass yards, but you perform like a top 10 quarterback.
I appreciate it. So, hey, I'm top 10 in my wife's mind.
That's right.
So,
I would hope so.
Yeah,
I would hope you're
she
top,
thinks I'm a top 10
1.
quarterback.
Yeah.
She only puts me in like the top 6.
Yeah. Hey, at least you're in the top 6. Thanks for the time, Blaine.